Oh boy, feels good to be back.
It feels great to be back. I feel refreshed. I feel relaxed. You don't really have anything exciting or cool to talk about. Your background isn't really different right now. People are just
No.
probably bored by anything that just looking at your plain lame background. I'm sure we'll touch on it here in a second. I had a thrilling break from the football lounge. You want to know? You want to know what I accomplished during my break during the football lounge?
Well, I know, I've been from what I've seen on Facebook and whatnot, but please, because did you guys do another, was it a Disney trip,
Listen,
yet again,
my
or?
wife and I did have an anniversary trip to Orlando. Lame, boring. Not important. Most important, and it's something that now I'm actually I have to be honest with our listeners. Come November, we might have a problem. So I have always loved Ken Burns, the documentarian.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of Ken Burns, his Vietnam War one, a couple of his other independent ones, like the one on Ali. And I know in my heart of heart, and I know in my heart of heart that I've seen his Civil War documentary before. But Ken Burns, about a month ago, was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he broke the news that in November, he is releasing his latest documentary, and it's like a 10-part, 14 hours on the American Revolution.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's gonna be sweet.
Jonah Hill went from 6 to midnight. It was like, oh my God. I immediately subscribed to PBS. I'm now donating money every month to PBS, $5 a month. So I have full access to the catalog of Ken Burns. So like every night, the past couple weeks, besides when I was in Orlando and Disney World and all that with my wife celebrating her anniversary, I've been watching. So I started with Civil War. It's a must watch. Ken Burns Civil War. It's a must watch. I can't tell you how much more I learned. And this is a guy who, with my acting degree, one of the things I got to do was I got to basically minor in whatever I wanted. I could take whatever classes I wanted in college, like because your acting took up so much of your schedule. You could take like one extra class a semester. I took almost exclusively American history classes. I learned more about the Civil War, like relearning and then learning more from the Ken Burns documentary Civil War. It's a must watch. It's a must watch. And
That's
now
great.
I'm on World War II. I will be watching another episode of World War II tonight when we're done recording. I'm sorry, Cubs baseball right now. I know the Brewers. I got World War II.
Yeah.
And then when the Revolutionary War drops in November during football season. So I will watch every game. I promise you that. We watch the games and then we talk about the games. If there's a blowout and it's a Thursday night football, I may be changing over to the Revolutionary War Ken Burns documentary. I just want that out there.
That is fair.
I need that out there.
You've got prime time viewing 3 nights out of the week for football, and then you've got 4 nights of prime time Ken Burns television the rest of the way.
Dan, I implore you to listen, and our listeners to listen to the Rogan interview with Ken Burns. Even if you're not a Rogan listener, Rogan does such a great job. He stays out of Ken Burns' way, and Ken Burns basically talks for an hour of the 2.5-hour podcast about how George Washington truly is one of like the 4 greatest human beings to ever live. Like he's like, he explains like George. I'm like, I salivated. I was like, I'm ready to run through a brick wall for George Washington right now.
Guys,
he
content gold.
He's like, besides Jesus Christ, like George Washington might be the second most important human being. And then when you think about it, it's true. He's like, we would not have America without George Washington. And if you don't have America, think about what the world is. If we didn't ever create America, democracy maybe never would have formed. And think about what the leaders, what the shape of the landscape of the world would be like. There may not be football. There probably would not be football.
There probably
without
wouldn't.
George Washington.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I would love to see a Ken Burns style, history of the NFL.
Oh, he did, because he did baseball, and I've watched the baseball one, and it's great. And so he would, we should urge for that next.
Watch that. That sounds good.
So Civil War for me, big time in the layoff. You just bought a new house and are living, that's boring. That's not
Yeah, yeah. We just got the new house white behind me, the boring new house white. Don't worry, we'll get a background sooner rather than later here for our viewers, so they don't have to shield their eyes.
I'm very excited for you and your lovely wife Grace, and I'm pumped. I'm pumped. The background is going to be different, but your life has changed for the better immensely. So we're happy for you at the Football Lounge.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, very excited to be here. I'm in Lyman, South Carolina. Wonderful Lyman, South Carolina. Population like 6,400 or something like that. But
I'm sure in the Civil War there was something that happened there.
Well, dude, yeah, I mean, as far as the Revolutionary War as well, like South Carolina played a huge role.
Charleston
in that. And they filmed The Patriot here, largely.
All that Durham remodeling money. New house.
Exactly. There you go.
Dan hasn't been splitting the checks with me. I haven't.
It's show the proof. Where's the proof, man? I don't know. But yeah, no, we're stoked to be here. We're excited. I have my own studio now, so we don't have to do it in the guest bedroom anymore.
That's awesome.
So yeah, moving on up for sure. But we are excited to be back here on the airwaves. It's been over 3 weeks at this point since we last spoke with everybody.
Longest break we've taken in our podcast history, and
it
felt right with your move, and so it was just too chaotic to try to do without it.
It came at the perfect time of year, honestly. I mean, it's not like I planned the move around that, but it really did come at the most convenient time for this podcast and for the NFL season. So we are obviously going to talk training camp because that has begun. Most teams now, I mean, every team has their own unique schedules, but most teams this week are putting the pads on. So that's kind of, ramp things up at training camp, but it officially, started things off last week with the teams reporting. And so obviously we've had some news coming around that. A lot of other, signings and, little news here and there that have transpired over the last 3 plus weeks since we've been off. So we'll touch on a few things, and get to some more of that news as well. But I guess we could start with some of the more recent news, very unfortunate news, of yet another shooting that has taken place, this time near the NFL headquarters. It was in the building of the NFL headquarters. Apparently, the gunman took the wrong elevator. Otherwise, he may have gotten to the floor that he was looking for and, potentially caused even more damage. But 4 people are dead. Others are injured. The gunman, as far as we know, Mark, is just basically cited in a note that he left that he was extremely angry with the NFL because of their concealing of CTE and its effects on people for years, which they are guilty of. He himself claims to be a victim of CTE. It's something that can't be diagnosed or currently is not something that's diagnosed while people are alive. They have to wait to find this once they're dead, but he's convinced he has CTE. And as far as I know, he only played in high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, airing some grievances there with the NFL and went there to, I guess in his mind, do some damage and wreak havoc and get some payback. But tragic all around, of course.
Yeah, heavy news to wake up to this morning as I was heading into the studio and obviously hosting my morning news show and trying to digest it all. And the reports that you saw, I'm at 3:45 this morning reading the note that Roger Goodell sent out and seeing all of the news come out. I think what's obviously it's disgusting act. It's a horrifying act. It's to see that still photo of him nonchalantly walking with that assault rifle towards the building. I mean, it's disgusting. It's horrible. It's there's no excuse, even if this man does have CTE or whatever comes of it. There's just no excuse in this country that we continue to have violence like this. I don't want to get too political, but it felt eerily starting to feel eerily reminiscent, like he targeted the NFL similar way in that Luigi Mangione targeted a healthcare person because he felt it comes out that he had healthcare issues or whatever. It very, very, sick and kind of targeted attack in that way. I will say, when you commit suicide, when we hear these mass shooters events, I don't remember a mass shooter that committed suicide that didn't shoot themselves in the head. They all take their own life with a gunshot wound, self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. This guy shot himself in the chest to die. That's what the report that we read this morning from ABC, in hopes that his brain would be studied. So,
yeah,
listen, it's disturbing. It's sick. I hope they get some more answers. I would do an autopsy on him to try to figure out, I know he cited a former Steelers player who had CTE in his note as well. It's disturbing.
Yeah, Mike Webster, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. It's disgusting. The NFL has done a good job since the obvious cover-up of being very, very pro not covering things up and pro health and pro player. The new caps they wear, what I can't think of the name of the caps. Guardian caps, and all these things. You see it now in training camp. Every training camp video I'm watching, every skill position dude is wearing a Guardian cap. And that's probably how it should be at this point. So the NFL is definitely moving forward. Obviously, they're still paying for the sins of their past. This is a tragic story, and it's not a uniquely tragic American story. Terrorist attacks and attacks of mass violence happen in Europe all the time. Obviously, we know what's going on in the Middle East. The fact that it's guns seems like a truly Americanized part of the horror and the terror. It's frustrating that and disturbing and very much so the first time that I can think of that the NFL is truly linked to something like this.
Yeah, that they've been a target. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you hope that they can, I know Roger Goodell's already amped up security. You hope that they can feel safe going to work again in downtown Manhattan, in America's largest city, in one of the most important cities on planet Earth. Something like this can happen. It's sad. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. And you hope that that's what changes, right? You hope that that's what we can grow from and move on from. Well, we'll see.
Yep. You said it best. There's not much more to add to that, and we will get to some more cheery stuff for sure. Yeah. But I did want to take a moment as well. You mentioned the Cubs and Brewers, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, give a big RIP to Ryne Sandberg, who obviously was before my time as a viewer.
Yes,
I was just a little kid while he was still playing, but I had a little plaque of Ryne Sandberg up in my room. He is an all-time favorite Cub and was endeared to that team and city for decades. And he's stayed in baseball and around at the conventions. Like, he's very much been a part of the fabric of the Cubs.
Him and Ernie Banks. And Ernie Banks, like Mr. Cub, like he was taking that title. Like they were because they had blacklisted Sammy for the last 20 something years. I 100% agree with you. It was sad news, especially because he had just come out of cancer, like had a remission announcement like a year ago. That. Yep. So it's cancer brutal. Sucks. It's just he's a legend gone way too soon.
Absolute legend. The guys on Locked On Cubs mentioned in terms of Mount Rushmore for Cubs, there's two ultimate locks, and it's Ernie Banks and Ryne Sandberg, and the rest can be debated. You probably throw Sammy in there, you Fergie Jenkins, but those two guys are guaranteed locks in the Mount Rushmore.
10-time All-Star, I think, like 9-time Golden Glove. Like the stats are just
one of the greatest second basemen to ever play.
An MVP, I believe a first ballot Hall of Famer, maybe not, because the MLB is so dumb. But I thought I saw that somewhere too. Hall of Famer, nonetheless. Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. And the White Sox had just lost Bobby Jenks from cancer, the great pitcher from them when he won the World Series with them. So a tough time for baseball fans in Chicago over the last month.
Yeah, no question.
And the
all right,
Cubs lost to the Brewers, so fuck me. Like, we got
I
like
know, dude.
the Brewers are so annoying.
They really are.
I
It's
hate 'em.
crazy that, the Cubs have been playing so well this year, and they're just unfortunately in the division with the other team that doesn't even have any they just play baseball so much better.
You
than
thought it
most
was
other
we thought it
teams,
was Craig Counsell. We thought it was like Craig Counsell's got the secret sauce.
It's
and
their farm system. It's how they train up. I mean, they find pitchers every year.
It's like the Green Bay Packers. It's like they know they're not a free agent destination, and yet they find a way to draft and to develop it.
And how they approach the game is, it's smart.
Special.
It's smart.
And small market should all look at the Brewers in baseball and the Packers in football and understand.
Two Wisconsin teams. What's Wisconsin got going for them? It's got to be the cheese curds or something. That's
the Miller Lite and the cheese curds. I hate to say it.
That's what it is.
I mean, I love it. God bless Miller Lite, but
we had some news break little over a week ago, maybe 2 weeks at this point now, of TJ Watt signing that mega deal. The 3-year extension, $41 million per year, just more than Myles Garrett got when he broke that record. So TJ Watt, for the second time in his career, is the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Now, obviously, that's not going to be for long. Micah Parsons is currently waiting out a deal. Trey Hendrickson's not probably going to get $41 million per year, but he's still obviously waiting for his deal. And then Aiden Hutchinson will be right around the corner as well. But huge signing. A little bit of controversy, it seemed, between the media as to whether or not this was a smart idea for the Steelers. I think it was. I think they have the money. This isn't about not having money, and they still spent a lot of money on offense as well with the DK Metcalf signing, and they've got a lot of young players. They've got a lot in the works. But when you have a guy like TJ Watt and you're able to keep him, in your helmet, that's a smart move. And so I'm totally for this. I thought a 3-year extension was like the perfect mark. It appears that what the sticking point was for the final weeks leading up to this, based on a lot of reporting, was that the Steelers were really hoping to do a 2-year extension, and TJ was hoping for like a 4-year. They ended up here settling on the 3-year, with 108 of that guaranteed or whatever it was. I still think that's good. Like, he'll be 33 by the time that deal is up, or 34. And that seems about right. I mean, he's a guy that, despite missing a couple games here and there, he's been fairly durable for the most part. Just a couple recent little things. But when he's on the field, he's been extremely effective. Not in the playoffs. That has been a knock on him for sure. But he is still performing at a high level, and I think he's still got a ton left in the tank. So I applauded the deal. I was not one of those that wanted them to trade him to get, whether it was a first-round pick next year or extra receivers. No, I think this was the right move all around.
I loved it. Mainly because JJ having to end with the Cardinals just always felt a little weird.
Yeah.
The money that JJ had, the ultimate tweet when he tweeted out the money he made versus the money JJ's made.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm never paying
made the amount of money in this deal alone that JJ made his entire career.
And I still protest JJ at his peak was the better player. Like, and I think history will look at JJ because the 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And
probably true.
His dominance in a shorter span, and TJ being less of a physical freak is JJ. But I also think what shortened JJ's career was the fact that JJ was so ginormous,
overpowering,
that his body could not handle that. Like, he was one of those that pushed the limits of what a human body could do. Different from an Aaron Donald, who it's like an undersized skill with strength, like, was able to have longevity, with his health. But I think JJ, if I'm TJ and I'm the Steelers, I think all of this makes sense, because we all know right now the elephant in the room for the Steelers is, okay, great. This year is an all-in year, and we get TJ, and so we're all in. It shows we're all in, right? You make the Jonnu Smith trade, we're all in. And if next year you have a rookie quarterback or you're starting another free agent quarterback for another all-in year, you need TJ Watt to be a part of that, right? Like the Steelers are in this weird space where if they go with a rookie next year and it's goodbye Aaron Rodgers, then it's like, hey, we got a quarterback on a rookie deal and we're going to keep spending money on all this to build up this roster. It's a really great roster, right? Or if they go with, I'm saying like a name like a Kirk Cousins, not Kirk Cousins, but like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, we're going to patchwork this. Maybe Kyler Murray in Arizona separate. They go, we're going to go Kyler Murray on a short-term deal, kind of all in, because we think we have the roster. Whatever that quarterback is, you want TJ Watt on your team. So I think it makes all the sense in the world. And, he's a Steeler. He's a Ring of Honor Steeler. He's a Hall of Fame player. And right now, when he is healthy, him and Myles Garrett and Mason Crosby, not Mason, Max Crosby and
Parsons probably is,
he'd probably be the other
but
guy.
I still think that they're better than Parsons.
The three that I listed, I think they're head and shoulders above. They are pound for pound. It's kind of like pick your poison with like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow after Mahomes. Like rotate any three week by week. One of those guys, Watt, and the other two, Crosby and Garrett, the most dominant pass rusher in football. So it makes a ton of sense. Now, Dan, while we're talking Steelers football, your thoughts so far, what you've seen from training camp, any kind of insight? All I've seen is the national stuff for the Steelers, like the Rodgers bomb to DK Metcalf that looked like it would have been out of bounds if he caught it, but everyone was freaking out.
Yeah.
So fill us in. What are your takeaways from Steelers training camp so far?
Oh, it hasn't been too noisy, and that's obviously a good thing, but less than most years, which I think is kind of interesting because they probably have more new faces this year in prominent roles than they have in years past. But I think it's because it's a little bit different of a situation where these guys, they're bringing in kind of a new style of player. If you think about the Aaron Rodgers that they brought in, Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith to a lesser extent, they're bringing in some dudes that have, bravado or like a swagger with them, right? That is different from the stodgy Steeler mold. And I'm starting to think that was maybe by design, because it from like some of the reports of like players getting amped up, not like chippy, but like getting like Jalen Ramsey, like really going after that pick and selling out and picking off Aaron Rodgers a couple times. Like Aaron, talking to certain players and bringing them in after, every play. That there's some like element of competition there with a lot of the new guys trying to assimilate. I think that is creating an interesting kind of like culture and environment there to maybe light a fire a little bit more in the team, is at least just like what it seems like, from 10,000 feet up looking in. I will say too, like as it relates, Aaron Rodgers, obviously the big story. And I'm not trying to, I still share a lot of the same feelings I did about Aaron Rodgers during the entirety of this show and throughout, our entire fandom. He's, can be very dramatic, can be very, selfish at times. It appears, at least with the media, and can, be, as Colin Cowherd puts it, prickly a lot. But what we're seeing right now from Aaron is completely different. I mean,
I totally agree with that.
And I think case in point, the number one, the biggest thing that stood out to me this entire training camp was his interview with Kyle Brandt.
Yes, I'm glad you brought it up.
He was teed up with an opportunity for old Aaron Rodgers to, basically lay into Terry Bradshaw, because Terry Bradshaw
add fuel to the fire.
Yes. and double down on it and everything, because Terry Bradshaw called out Aaron Rodgers unnecessarily in I believe it was a Chicago radio show that he made these comments about how Aaron needs to just go eat bark somewhere, and this and that, and how he doesn't like him as a person or a quarterback for this team, yada yada yada. Kyle Brandt teed that up for Aaron Rodgers, like, what were your thoughts on these statements? And Aaron, the old Aaron, you would 100% have expected him to take that bait and say something snarky, or like some sort of side comment, backhanded comment towards Terry Bradshaw, like, I don't even care, he's old or whatever. But instead, he just laid on thick the praise for Terry Bradshaw and talked about how we walk on the shoulders of giants like Terry Bradshaw, who came before us, and they're legends. And he doesn't know me. I hope that he gets to know me one day. It was just, he handled it so professionally. I was like, is this Aaron Rodgers that's talking right now? This doesn't make sense. But I think it might signal, something where Aaron really is trying to turn the narrative about him. It seems like he's doing this purposefully now. Like, he wants to kind of change how he's viewed. That's what it seems like to me. And so he is taking a much more team first approach, and, talking about how he's mentoring Will Howard, and, wanting to be a shoulder to lean on, and how people are reporting how he's grabbing teammates after every play and showing them certain things of what he was seeing on the sideline. So right now, it seems like a lot different Aaron Rodgers. Now, whether or not that's actually true, and we'll see come game time when things start hitting the fan, how he actually responds. But I've been pleasantly surprised to this point.
I think your analysis is really spot on from how I feel as well, from just everything I've seen. The one thing I will add to what you said is that I think Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I just listened to him on Joe Rogan a month ago. I don't think he has changed truly who he is and all of that. But I think Aaron Rodgers, as a football player, I think he's really starting to kind of separate these worlds, right? I think he wants to separate these worlds. I think when he was in Green Bay, he had won MVPs late in his career. They were in an NFC championship game. I think he thinks, I'm top dog. And, I know Mahomes is a rising star and Brady's still in this league, but I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'm the man. I think he thought, I can take on all of this, and I'm going to go to these press conferences and just lean into it. And I think with the Jets, the problem is a lot of that carried over, and then he got injured. And so it's just this, like, it got messy, and it was just so messy with the Jets. I think he's looking at it as he's trying to separate the two, right? He had part of the quote that Terry Bradshaw said was like, I'll go chew bark somewhere in California, alluding to do the drugs, darkness retreat, all of these type of things, right? And I think how Aaron answered the question just goes to show again, he's like, hey, I understand in 5 years from now, I'm going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I'm now really lobbying for, like, how do you, as the football media world, rank me and consider me? And if he goes out on a high note with them, and deference to the sport and deference to the legends and all class with a classy Pittsburgh Steelers organization, I think he's hoping we'll kind of forget the Jets time, and we'll think of him as this MVP, Green Bay Packers most talented QB maybe to ever live, until we've seen Mahomes in a weird way with, like, arm talent, to ending on a classy note and gave it his all after a devastating injury. And Aaron Rodgers, football-wise, good guy. The problem I think that Aaron's going to run into, and this is a discussion for another day, but the problem is going to be, like, in 4 years from now, when Aaron Rodgers isn't playing football, what is he doing? You know what I mean? Like, he's now gone, like, I'm not even telling you I'm married. My life is private. I married a woman who doesn't want fame, and I'm private. Well, dude, 2 years ago, you were openly lobbying for the Jeopardy job. And a year ago, you were the number one name to be a vice presidential candidate. So how can
Yeah,
you
that
go
and
from
someone pointed out too, like you say that you want to separate the two lives and be private and all of that, and then you hired a documentary crew to come and follow you around and do a documentary on how you're an
yes,
enigma and take you
you're a
to the street.
consistent
Or maybe
guest
not
on the
hired, but let them in.
you're a
Right.
consistent guest on the biggest podcast on planet Earth that's not on the Times 100 most influential podcasts. But that's neither here nor
The Pat
there.
McAfee show wasn't on there either.
And Pardon My Take. Pardon My
Yeah.
Take was
Does
not.
he go on Pardon My Take often? I
No,
know
no,
he's done
no.
a couple.
I was making a reference to Aaron Rodgers. He was
Right.
no. I was making a reference to Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay. They didn't put
Rogan,
him on there either? That's
no,
crazy.
and that's why people like McAfee and people like Pardon My Take, they kind of embrace what Time did.
Sure. Yeah.
Time chose the tennis.
I saw they did
podcast.
their own.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Whatever. So, but it's my jab at Time Magazine there. But that to me is what's interesting, right? Is like, so how long can he keep this up? Maybe Aaron Rodgers will live this kind of private life in the future. Maybe he won't have a Jeopardy type job because he's married to someone who doesn't want fame. But I do think Aaron Rodgers, we will see him pop up on Rogan, on McAfee. Like, he'll talk football, he'll talk podcasts, he'll talk politics probably, because I don't think he can't not.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're going to see Aaron Rodgers as like the Jeopardy host, like look at my public life on E! News, which is kind of where he was going a couple years ago.
Yeah, he'll probably just end up writing books or
Yeah, I can see that.
Something like
100%
right?
could see that. Keeping his wife private and that life private, but showing you how smart I am talking football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll write college textbooks or something. It's gonna be
he'll teach a class at like Stanford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he'll be like an adjunct professor. It's funny.
Processing 101. He'll probably be very good at it.
Overall, though, Dan, vibes high. Like, I feel the vibes are high if I was a Steelers fan.
Yeah, I mean, they still have a tough schedule, so it's really hard for me to figure out how they're going to do this year. But like, I feel offensively, and I said this last year too. So like, just fuck me. But it's it feels like this is the best offense they've had since probably 2020. And they that was the year that they went 11-0. And maybe even 2019 before Ben got hurt. But yeah, they've got a quarterback that can get the ball out quick. They've got a surefire number one receiver. They bring in two really, really good receiving tight ends who are, pseudo wide receivers at their position. Got a good running group, got a really young offensive line that I thought was underrated last year. I think they're actually, they're going to be a top half unit, I think, this year. And a revamped and ready to go defense. There's a lot going for it, and vibes are good. The vibes in Chicago, on the other hand, have seemed to be a little weird. And I do think a lot of people are taking the opportunity to just jump on anything right now when it comes to Caleb Williams and the Ben Johnson hype. But gosh, we didn't get into like more than one training camp practice mark before the reports start coming out. Ben's laying into Caleb, and he threw the first team offense off the field because they couldn't get, their signals right or whatever it is. And then the Caleb Williams struggles all together. What have you made from just this kind of crazy week and a half of news coming out of Bears camp?
Well, let me start by saying I love a lot of what I'm seeing. And I know that's dangerous, right? Because I'm trying to stay level-headed. I love that I have a head coach who has the power and the backing and the contract to say, no, like I run this, and I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to make, and I am going to pull you. I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to we're guys and you're around guys. And what's the best way to motivate a guy and find out if he's a real dude or not? Do something like that. Pull him. And if the guy pouts and runs off, then he's not your guy. But if he takes that as a challenge and gets angry, gets frustrated, and then comes back better and everything, those are guys you want to be in the foxhole with. So I'm not panicking about any of that. Listen, it is an important year for Caleb Williams, but even if Caleb Williams has moments of struggles, and I expect him to, because it's a whole new system, a whole new offense, it's a whole new coaching staff. It's not going to be perfect. Even if there's moments of struggles, that's not going to deter me away from anything. Caleb Williams will also be the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears in 1 year from now. I guarantee it.
Yeah. 100%.
Not the only way he doesn't is if the 1% chance happens and it's a fucking disaster and he somehow throws 20 picks and 12 touchdowns and loses every game. I don't expect that because Caleb only threw 6 interceptions with 20 touchdowns with 3 offensive coordinators last year in the most dysfunctional offense in the NFL with the worst offensive line in the NFL. So I don't expect that 1% chance of happening, right? Even if Caleb is 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and the Bears are around 500, listen, at this time next year, I'll be saying a lot of different things. I'll be saying, no, the pressure is on because Ben Johnson has the contract, and now Ryan Poles got the extension to where the ownership looks at them and say, hey, we're going to trust you to figure this out, even if it's not Caleb Williams. And so, again, that's the luxury of having a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal. You have the flexibility and to figure it out. So I'm not worried. I'm not panicking at all. I love seeing it all. Obviously, the Bears are an easy national fodder because it's the 3rd largest market, and Bears Nation stretches a lot farther than just Chicagoland. You're going to get clicks. You're going to get listens. If you're talking Bears and Caleb Williams, Bears and quarterback, Bears insert quarterback, any name, struggles or dysfunction or worry, you're going to get callers and engagement no matter what city in America you're talking about it in, because that's what Bears fans are across the nation, and Bears fans are vocal and have opinions. My message to Bears Nation would be this. Every clip I watch when it's like, ooh, look at this throw Caleb Williams makes. Ooh, look at this catch that Rome made from Caleb. Look at this trick play that Ben Johnson ran, and look at how Caleb ran it. Every clip, I'm not looking at Caleb Williams. My eyes are in love with Drew Dahlman and Jonah Jackson, future Hall of Famer Joe Thuney, and that 6'8" monster from Boston College in the 2nd round, Ozzie Trapolo at left tackle. Oh, and then Darnell Wright, a really, really top 10 right tackle in football, a first rounder going into year 3 out of Tennessee, who's 6'6" and looks tiny next to Ozzie Trapolo from Boston College. And I go, oh my God, for the first time in 6-7 years since Kyle Long and was in his prime, feel like, wait a minute, we might actually have an offensive line that carries respect in this league. A top 5 center, a top 3 left guard, a top 10 right tackle, a rookie at left tackle who is a wall of a human being who I was expecting all of the beat writers I trust to be like, well, listen, he's shaky, but his body, give him time. And I'm not seeing any of that. All the stuff I'm seeing from the true beat writers I trust are like, no, this kid at left tackle's for freaking real. Obviously, he's going to have rookie growing pains, but he's for real. And then Jonah Jackson has been healthy. This time last year, all I'm worried about is is Davis even lining up? You know what I mean? Or even suiting up? And it's like, no, this guy is healthy and he's suiting up and he's a professional right guard. So that's what I'm excited about. That is what I'm salivating about. Yeah. Is that we might actually have an offensive line that allows Ben Johnson's offense to function. Now, we'll learn if Caleb Williams is the type of quarterback that functions in Ben Johnson's offense. But I remind all of Bears Nation, I'll end my speech on this. Ben Johnson could have chosen any job he wanted besides the Patriots over the last 2 years. The Patriots were zeroed in on Mike Vrabel, and that was happening no matter what. But over the last 2 years, Ben Johnson could have had any job. He could have gone to Tennessee and had his pick of the quarterbacks. He could have had any job he wanted. And he said, I want to go to Chicago with Caleb Williams. So Ben Johnson is not going to be, for all these people like, oh, Caleb is struggling at Ben Johnson's system. Ben Johnson said in his first press conference, I don't have a system. I'm not bringing my Detroit playbook and just going, learn this. He understands what it takes to make a football player and take all of their advantages and make it happen. Now, obviously, there's basic things that Caleb has to do in general in his system. And it seems like early on, Ben is testing his young quarterback. But I don't think Ben Johnson's going to go into week one going, I'm going to test my quarterback. He's going to go, I'm going to run the fucking shit that works because I want to win games. And I have a really diverse playbook with some really great weapons. Rome Odunze's looked fantastic. DJ Moore is healthy and has looked very good. There's a healthy competition at wide receiver number 3 with some really talented guys. Obviously, the 2 tight ends have looked very, very strong in practice. Offensive line. The defense is good. It's a really good defense. I'm not worried about them. I think they're solid. I don't think they're going to be a top 5 defense. I think they're going to float around top 10 if they stay healthy. And all we've known for Chicago for the past 25 years is, can this offense play up to par with the defense? I'm not panicking. So I'm not overreacting to any of the Caleb stuff. Now, we haven't seen preseason. We haven't seen week 1. So I reserve the right to freak out. But I'm going to tell Bears Nation, don't panic. Trust this process, Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my reaction, is this is something that's been expected. I don't know, why it would be a surprise for anybody. Brand new system, brand new everything. We're not even, a week into pads yet or anything like that. So yeah, there's going to be some growing pains. He's also just in year 2 as a quarterback, and I know we expect them to be
and
more
4th offensive coordinator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's you just hope he doesn't become like Trevor Lawrence, with that type of situation. But so you hope Ben Johnson's the stabilizing force that T-Law never got. So yeah, that much is interesting. But I have a lot of optimism around Chicago coming into the season too, and I think there's gonna be growing pains for him as a coach too. I mean, he's not used to running games or being the game planner. So
while also calling, he's the offensive coordinator. He's calling the plays, which I like, because Andy Reid, Sean McVay, like, you see it successful in other places.
Yep. But you got to be able to make those work. So yeah, it's just whether or not he can handle it. He seems like a guy that can. So
yeah, and again, tough schedule. I would argue it's more important to be around 500 and Caleb Williams and the offense be very, very competent and like exciting, kind of like Jared Goff that year. They missed the playoffs, but they beat the Packers in week 17 or week 18, whatever it was, and they kept the Packers out of the playoffs, but they also were kept out of the playoffs because Seattle won. And then the next year, what happened? The Lions, Jared Goff, they explode. They beat the Chiefs week 1, and it's like, holy crap, the Lions are here. And so I want that type of season. That's my kind of floor. Is like, hey, maybe who cares if we miss the playoffs, but man, there's something really special brewing here. That's the most important thing for Bears Nation. And that's, again, temper your expectations and understand that you have a brutal schedule in a brutal division. And we need to show that we are in building block A is down, it's firm, it's planted, and we move forward.
Yep. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Just taking that next step each and every day in camp, preseason, and then take it into the season as well. Can I throw some trivia your way before we get to our next block of stuff?
Yeah.
This was from Jeff Bell on Twitter, who typically tweets out a lot of fantasy football content, but this one crosses into the NFL news sphere. And I thought it was interesting. So the NFL has played 105 seasons. And in that time, the 5,000 club, that's 5,000 yards rushing, 5,000 yards receiving, has only 4 members. I honestly wouldn't have thought that was the case. Only 4 players have had 5,000 yards rushing and 5,000 yards
in their
receiving
career.
In their career. There are 2 active players that can reach it this upcoming season. So that would be pretty epic that half of the members you could add.
So Christian McCaffrey.
That is correct. He needs 534 yards receiving to make it. This other player needs
Alvin Kamara.
238. That is correct. Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Alvin Kamara
and can I guess the other people who are already in?
This is part 2. This is tough. I will say this is tough. I think I maybe would get 2 of the 4.
My first gut says LT.
It is not. Nope. I will look up and see what LT actually had career numbers.
Guys who my other gut says Matt Forte, because Matt Forte was a receiving freak.
Nope, he didn't make it either. Tomlinson's career receiving numbers 4,772. He just
so
missed
close,
it.
so
He
close.
just missed it.
All right, how far back am I going? Is there one fairly recent? Is there
one that played in like the 50s and 60s for the Colts?
I have no idea. So
they're all 3 of them
guy?
actually.
Who's the guy from the Colts in the 50s? I have no idea.
That would be Lenny Moore.
Great for Lenny Moore.
He played like 13 years too. The other 2 are Hall of Famers. And then there's one who has been a semifinalist, but is not currently in the Hall.
LaShawn McCoy.
Nope. Go back a little bit before McCoy.
He was my borderline.
The 2 of the 3 played around the same era. Think 90s into early 2000s.
Is it? It's not. Is it? I'm trying to think who was. Well, Barry Sanders.
One of these guys you definitely should get. No, it's not Barry.
Emmitt Smith.
You're gonna kick yourself when you hear the
who's.
one.
All right, just say
there's one obvious one, and he actually was on the Colts for a time, and then
Edgerrin James.
Nope, did damage.
Oh, Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk.
Yes. That's Marshall Faulk.
Yeah, that's bad. I was LT was blocking my Marshall Faulk because they're like very, very similar players.
Matt Forte had 4,672 career receiving yards.
Close because he had what, like 8,000 yards rushing, like
9,700, 96, almost 9,800.
What did I say?
Yeah,
Matt Forte
97, 98.
Matt Forte is first ballot Hall of Very Good. He's first ballot Hall of Very Good.
Definitely.
So who are the others? Give us. So Lenny Moore.
One is a classic Hall of Famer for the Raiders, Marcus Allen.
I would have.
And then Tiki Barber is the other.
Yeah, no way. I would have never guessed.
I wouldn't have guessed Tiki Barber had 5,000 receivers.
So Tiki Barber, Marcus Allen, Marshall Faulk, Lenny Moore, and then CMC. What does he need? They probably both
534. So that's a little bit more in jeopardy. Alvin Kamara should definitely get it this year, barring any injury. He only needs 238.
Oh, he'll get it. So Alvin Kamara is going to be the 5th guy to ever join the 5,000 club.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
He's been a great weapon. He's been a great weapon for a long time.
Yep, he sure has.
That's fun. That's fun trivia. Hey, can we talk really quickly about Terry McLaurin?
Yeah.
Now he's got an injury, apparently. So that's why he's reported. So he's they put him on like the injury list. So he's not paying the fines, but they're still trying to work a deal. I think that's right.
It's a little bizarre, right? I think it's maneuvering a way to not to make the financial hit as not extensive as it could be. Adam Schefter also tweeted out during this show that Trey Hendrickson is ending his holdout. He's not, going to be doing. He's going to report to Bengals, ending his holdout.
Paying the fine.
But they're no closer to a deal. Reporting to camp stops the $50,000 a day fines, and also
These
quote
guys all
unquote.
talk like, "I'll hold out as long." 50 grand a day
Yeah, I know. It's
fucking
crazy.
sucks.
Just
Like,
give me that one day's worth of
and
fine,
truly,
you
I
know.
think they build it into where it comes out of like your next contract. It's not like they're draining your bank account 50 grand a day.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, they can whenever you come up with like your new contract or whatever, they'll bake in that
But
money,
still, think
you
you're
know.
on vacation. Like, hey, wife, let's get out of here. Let's. I'm not. I'm holding out.
You gotta
And
pay that 50 grand
you spend
fine.
like spend like $12,000 on the hotel and dinner and like on like a 2 nights out, and all of a sudden it's like plus $100,000 because I missed 2 days of training. I'm like,
Yeah,
Jesus, like that adds up quick.
crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, wild stuff. But both of them should get deals done with their respective teams. I'm not as optimistic about the Bengals situation, but I think with him ending his holdout, maybe that's going to help jumpstart some
My
stuff. I don't know.
my guess is if I'm Trey, I almost take the tag at this point. Like, just get some giant guaranteed money. Just do a 2-year deal, 1-year deal, and then get out of Dodge. Get a good get 30 million guaranteed this year, and then get out of Dodge. These guys want the
Yeah.
length, but I think they focus way too much on the length. The NFL can cut you, Christian Watkins. We'll talk about in a second, at any
Yeah.
moment. So just take the guaranteed cash, like get a big number, and then figure it out. Like, someone else will pay you 2 or 3 years at a high number. And it's the same with Terry McLaurin. Terry is like stuck on probably like looking at the deals Garrett Wilson got. Terry's older. Terry's been in this league a while. He was a Redskin and a football team and now a Commander. Like, he's in already 30. If I'm Terry, dude, 2 years or 3 years, he probably wants 4. Take the 2 or 3 year deal and get 65, 70 million guaranteed and go ball out. And if you're still healthy in 2.5 years, 3 years, and you actually want to play, they'll sign you to a contract, a reasonable deal, or someone will sign you to a free agent deal, get 10, 12 million for a year somewhere. I know it sucks. Like, some of these guys, it sucks, right? Like, money's exploding in this league right now. But sometimes you're not at the right time at the right age. And
Yeah.
for Trey and for Terry, it's like, dudes, get some good guaranteed money for a short term. Bank it up. I know it's not the $108 million that TJ Watt's getting, but listen, he's with an organization that's different than your organization, and he's a Hall of Fame player. Terry McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson are not Hall of Fame players. They're Hall of very good players. Get some fucking bank and just go play football.
Not everybody has to reset the market. Like Micah Parsons, I would argue, doesn't have to reset the market.
No.
He hasn't.
Think of how the other receivers, Garrett Wilson just signed. It didn't reset the market. It was about DJ Moore's deal a little bit more, but it wasn't.
Right.
It's like but Micah, he's probably got people talking in his ear. It's like, dude, just take $100 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
You're in Dallas,
the Broncos
you're in Texas.
Just gave Cortland Sutton a 4-year, $92 million extension. It's like,
take it.
He's an underrated wide receiver, I'd say. Like he's a number one wideout on a team. And so, I mean, it's like, dude, that guy just inked a near $100 million deal, under the radar and avoided, all this stuff.
If I'm the Commanders, offer it right now. 3 years, $90 million, 60 guaranteed. Terry, sign it. Like, you've made money. It's not like it's his first contract. He's not a guy who was in the 6th round who's like, dude, now you got to pay me. You've made money. You've sold jerseys. You're a star in the DC area. You'll have a home and never pay for a meal in DC again. Like, just like sign that deal.
Yeah.
And if I'm Trey, I would argue, I don't want a long-term deal. Get me the fuck out of Cincinnati.
Seriously. No, I know.
Sign the franchise tag, get 30 million guaranteed, and then be like, I'm a free agent next year. And or make them sign you again for 30-something million guaranteed. And then you basically got your big money anyways. Like, I know it's probably more complicated than I'm saying. And I know there's people probably tearing my argument apart. And agents are probably tearing my argument apart. But at some point in time, again, like, I wish I could just be the real dude who be like, dude, just like, what are you doing? Like, just take that money and then get the hell out of Dodge. Go sign a 3-year deal with the Giants. They'll overpay you or whatever. You know what I mean? Find someone, the Raiders will overpay you. And then it's just about money. You'll make money somewhere in a no income state tax and be good to go.
Exactly. Yeah, no, there's several factors to take into consideration when you're, talking about this thing. And yeah, sometimes guys really do focus a lot on too much on the dollar figure
The
where,
years, it's the
everyone to each his
years.
own, it's their deal. But yeah, environment,
The
teammates, a lot of that should play a role too. It's the
the
grass isn't
years
always greener
don't
on the other
matter
side.
in the
Ask Le'Veon
NFL.
Bell. Ask Le'Veon
Dude,
Bell
the
how that worked
years,
out.
yes, the years don't matter in the NFL. They could cut you. Adam Schefter tweeted out a couple weeks ago, like all these dudes who signed giant contracts last year and were cut like
Yeah.
a year later. Like it happened so quick. Get the guaranteed now, and just and there'll be another guaranteed contract for you in a year from now.
You forecasted the Christian Wilkins signing. So a year
Yes.
ago, the Raiders gave him a 4-year, $110 million deal with like 87 guaranteed.
And we were lauding this. It was a great
Yeah, and
signing.
it's
You
I
pair
mean,
him
he's a
with
great
Max
player from
Crosby.
Miami. Under 30, it's like, okay, this guy's like gonna be a really good get for them. He had a Jones fracture last year, which is a pretty tough injury, and so he missed like the majority of the season. The team has released him now, and they voided like 33 million of his guaranteed money because they cited that his how he treated his rehab was not up to team standards.
Yep.
And then on top of it, probably 5% of the reason was this weird incident where he apparently like kissed a teammate on the head, like in a joking manner, but the teammate didn't take it that way and was offended by it. And the teammates kind of just said he's a little off. And he's actually, someone's like posted online like some like clips of Christian Wilkins through the years. He's known to do some weird stuff on the field, like even back in his Clemson days would like mess with guys in the pile, kind of like touch them uncomfortably.
Little Carl Anthony Towns action.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Exactly.
Dan,
but this goes to your point about how little things can change a guaranteed contract like that. That's 33 million guaranteed that he's not now guaranteed,
and he's not going to win if he tries to fight it. All you're going to waste is money on lawyers. They're going to win.
The NFLPA has filed a grievance on his behalf. We'll see how that pans out. Of course they have,
but you're going to lose. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. It's just the way this works. Exactly. It's the way this works. These contracts, you could have the best agent in the world, and even the agent knows. Listen, I'm sure his agent was telling him, like, dude, like, there's language in this contract. You got to be careful. Like, let's make sure the rehab's going well, because the agent just lost out on that money too. You don't think they're not happy? They're not happy. They negotiated a big deal, and you couldn't fucking get in shape, and then you kissing dudes. Like, what are we doing here? I'd drop him as a client. I'd be like, good luck. Like, you're on your own, dude. I got you a giant deal, and you squandered.
Yeah, Pete Carroll said no comment on it. I mean, he's 29 years old, like a quality player. I can't imagine, like, maybe it's not this year because he does have the Jones fracture. Apparently, he's not in shape. I would imagine if he was, the Raiders would have kept him.
Yeah.
But like maybe next year. I mean, he's going to be still relatively young and a really good player.
But so you lose that. You leave your prime quick. You know how quick it just disappears.
Yeah, you could fade quickly for sure.
Like his next deal will be like a 1 year, $8 million, $9 million deal.
Yeah. Probably is. I mean, the league moves on quickly as well.
Russell Wilson, it moves quickly.
Yes. Two offensive tackle things to note, and then we could probably call it a show.
Wrap it up.
Cowboys offensive tackle Tyler Guyton, the young offensive tackle with a lot of promise, went down with a knee injury. It initially was feared it was going to be like an MCL or an ACL, even take him out for the season. Revealed that it's only a bone fracture, likely to miss 4 to 6 weeks. So he's probably not playing this preseason, and they're just going to hope to have him back for week 1. But that was good news, given that they feared potential season-long injury.
And Dallas is a weird team to figure out this year because they have high-end talent at certain positions, but a lot of that roster is just kind of question marks, and they weren't great last year, and so they didn't do a lot to make me think like, oh, they're going to skyrocket this year. And that injury is certainly a key to adding to that feeling of like, I'm just uneasy about Dallas.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's a lot of question marks in Dallas. And then the Chargers signed Rashawn Slater to a 4-year,
Good for him.
$114 million deal. He's the highest paid offensive lineman on a per year basis, 28.5 per year. No brainer, obviously. Protect the blind side there for.
Yeah, he's a stud. I know he missed that season because of injury, but listen, Harbaugh and those guys, they know, like he's a very, very, very good player. Is he the best tackle in football? No, I think he's probably in the argument for around that like 5-6 slot. You know what I mean? Like you start throwing his name out there.
Yeah.
But again, that just goes to show you, just as Christian Wilkins, like the premier positions, an edge rusher and a tackle, you're going to have the opportunity to make big bank. And I think that signing makes a ton of sense.
Finally, Kenny Pickett, not going to be taking reps with the ones for a little bit. He's dealing with hamstring injury, so that's opening the door now for Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and the like.
Kenny was like the first, like when it started, they had him like with the ones to start, right?
Yep.
So what's interesting is Cleveland is the team that I think a lot of teams are circling for, like, who's going to not make that roster? Because I think whoever doesn't make that roster is going to get claimed. Maybe not Flacco. Flacco, if he doesn't make the roster, but I think Flacco's the one guarantee on the roster, like the veteran presence we can go to no matter what. Like, I think Flacco's got one of the 3 slots. But Dan, we kind of talked about it before the show started. When the Jets had their quick scare with Justin Fields, like within an hour, Jets Twitter was like, what do we do? What do we do? Like Jameis Winston, go get Kenny Pickett. Like the Browns are going to be a target. I think depending, especially on how guys play in the preseason, for if you got a guy that's looking promising or multiple guys looking promising, I could see some movement maybe happening in Cleveland.
Yeah, it could be interesting. There's some free agent quarterbacks out there in the likes of Carson Wentz and some other interesting names here. Teddy Bridgewater, CJ.
He's
Beathard,
done. Yeah, no.
Tyler Huntley.
No.
Yeah, no. Anybody want a Ben DiNucci special? Yeah,
it's bare bones. That's bare bones. But when you think there are going to be camp casualties, there are going to be practice squad guys. And the Browns are certainly going to be a team to keep an eye out for that. And I mean, obviously the Giants, kind of this weird, you have Dart and then it's like Wilson and Jameis. Jameis to me is like prime when the Jets thought maybe Justin was going to miss time, like call Jameis. Jameis is a first name of like, hey, if you need someone to steady the ship for 4 weeks, 5 weeks while your guy is just a hamstring or a broken toe or whatever it is, and it will come back in 3 to 4 weeks. Jameis is the guy I would call probably number 1.
Yeah, definitely Jameis would be at the top of the list. Andy Dalton, to a lesser extent, might be on there for some people.
2 or 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks. Is he still in Carolina? Is he still?
He is. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 or 3 weeks for sure.
Yeah, no question. All right, man. Well, it was good to be back.
Great to be back.
We'll return obviously next week with some more news from training camp. Hopefully, get more of these padded practices.
Will we be in August by then? I think it will be August.
We'll be in August, the first official, and then we're gonna have to start.
We have football Thursday night preseason.
Upcoming Thursday?
This Thursday. Chargers, Hall of Fame game. Chargers and Lions.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even realize
Lions are plus 100. I've already been looking.
Very nice. Love it. All right. Well, we'll be back then with some football to talk about next week and some more news and notes from around the league. Pleasure being back here with you all and looking forward to the season ahead. We are a part of the For Frequency Sake Podcast Network. Go check out the For Frequency Sake Facebook page. Sign up for our Toys for Tots League. About to play a promo here shortly.
Yeah.
But that's always really fun. You get to play against Mark and myself. Just check the box for the general leagues and then find the Football Lounge listed there. You get to play against us, all for a good cause, and you can win some prizes too. But until next week, we'll see you in a little bit.
Football season is just around the corner, and once again, For Fantasy Sake is running its annual Toys for Tots Fantasy Football Leagues. Don't miss your chance to be crowned the best fantasy football player in the Quad Cities. The For Fantasy Sake Toys for Tots Bowl is loaded with great prizes and even better local celebrity participants. ranging from professional athletes and news personalities to your favorite FFSQC personalities. To sign up, just visit For Frequency's Sake on Facebook or Twitter and follow the links.
So Boss of the Plains, the one call man, is the WXW Unified World Wrestling Champion. And you're listening to Card Subject to Change. Happy 3-year anniversary. Cheers to you.